The weather pattern is about to turn savage, and January looks absolutely brutal. Multiple major winter storms are lining up, each one stronger than the last, each one targeting the exact same regions. This is going to be relentless. At minute 4:45, I'll reveal why the next 10 days will see 3 separate Arctic blasts. And at 10 minutes 30 seconds, you'll discover why January could be one of the coldest months we've seen in years. Right now, we're in the calm before the storm. Literally. The current Arctic blast is just the beginning, just the appetizer. The main course is coming, and it's going to be intense. The European model shows it. The GFS model confirms it. The CFS climate model validates it. All 3 major forecasting systems agree. This pattern is about to get active, very active. We're moving into a back and forth pattern, warm surges followed by Arctic crashes, over and over. And every time that boundary sets up between warm and cold air, major storms develop. These aren't your typical winter systems. These are bombogenesis events, rapidly intensifying cyclones, the kind that make headlines, the kind that shut down cities. The first interesting weather develops Tuesday, December 16th into Wednesday, December 17th. Warmer air builds into the east. Nothing extreme yet, just the setup. Our northern jet stream is positioned way up north. Activity is traveling along the temperature boundary. A clipper system moves through the southern Hudson Bay. This brings a cold front. That front sweeps through the northeast, bringing colder air. Some snowfall between December 17th and 18th, Wednesday and Thursday. Nothing major from that system, but it's setting the stage for what comes next. Keep watching, because at minute 15, I'll show you exactly when and where the biggest storms will hit. And trust me, you need to know this. The next benchmark arrives around December 19th and 20th. Another intense but brief warm-up hits the eastern states, but behind it, a monster. A strong low-pressure system develops over the Great Lakes, very strong, with a very strong cold front attached, and behind that front, an intense Arctic air mass. This is the first real punch of the pattern, the first major event. Watch what happens. The leading edge brings thunderstorms, heavy showers. We're monitoring severe weather risk for areas in the warm sector. As we get closer, we'll have more details on that threat. The system moves through, and behind it, Arctic air floods in. Around December 19th and 20th, temperatures crash. Hard. Lake effect snow machines turn on. Heavy lake effect, the kind that dumps 2 to 3 feet in localized areas. That's always a testament to how cold the air is. When lake effect goes crazy, you know brutal cold is moving in. Another clipper system follows, but this one stays well to the north, not diving south like we've been seeing. The Arctic air doesn't penetrate as deep this time. We get cooler air again, December 22nd and 23rd. Then we warm back up for December 24th and 25th, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I know that's disappointing for many of you, but that's what the pattern shows. Warmth for Christmas. Not extreme warmth, but above average. Then the pattern becomes transient, a lot of activity moving flatly from west to east. Although we can clearly see a miniature ridge over the west and a miniature trough in the east, it's rather zonal flow, meaning the jet stream is relatively flat, running west to east without major north-south undulations. Snowfall happens in the northeast after Christmas. Not heavy, not widespread, but chances exist. Systems could develop. This is very far out though. Take it with a grain of salt. The European model on this run is the warmest we've seen in days. It's showing less cold, less snow, more mild conditions. But the GFS model? Completely different story. Much colder. Many more snowfall opportunities. Significant disagreement between major models. Let's dive into the GFS solution because it's more interesting, more impactful, and frankly, more likely based on pattern recognition. The GFS shows that major storm moving into the east with more cold air, high elevation snowfall develops, could amount to something substantial in the mountains. More cold air hangs around through December 20th, 22nd, and 23rd. A system tries to move through, bringing mid-Atlantic snowfall. This is within 10 days, well within reliable forecast range. Definitely something to pay attention to. Could be a significant winter storm for cities like Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York. We'll monitor closely. Overall, we see warmer times periodically, but a snow system develops around December 26th, similar timing on both European and GFS models. That's notable. Northeastern snowfall develops along with southeastern Canada's snow. Colder air makes its way in after Christmas. The pattern shifts. Precipitation is really elevated over the northwest. That atmospheric river pattern continues. Decent precipitation in the east, almost nothing over the plains. Classic split pattern. Looking at anomalies, we see well below average temperatures along the deep south and Gulf states, well above average in the northwest. This is textbook La Niña. Above average northwest, below average deep south. Classic La Niña signature. Worth noting though, the La Niña is expected to calm down, moving more towards neutral ENSO, even potentially weak El Niño as we progress through December, January, February. We're moving further and further away from La Niña conditions. That will change the pattern. How much and when remains to be seen. The European model shows almost no snowfall south of the far northern areas, almost nothing. This is the warmest run in days. It's an outlier. The GFS starts flirting with snowfall, working into the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Mid-Atlantic. Much more active, much more winter weather. Something to watch. The European is showing warmth. The GFS is showing cold and snow. Reality probably lies somewhere in between. Here's the current Arctic blast. It's hard to think about warmer temperatures when you're freezing right now, but they're coming. Briefly, another Arctic blast moves in December 19th and 20th, even a bit of one, especially for northern states, by December 22nd, but warm-ups happen in between. We really move into a warm pattern, December 24th through 30th. That's 6 to 7 days of above-average temperatures. This warmth has been pushed further and further back in model runs. Earlier this week, models showed warmth arriving sooner. Now it's delayed until Christmas. The GFS shows Arctic blast number 1, then number 2, then number 3. 3 separate shots of cold air over the next 10 days. Then we warm up. But colder air is able to make its way into the Great Lakes and Northeast, a little different from the European. We see a cool down December 27th and 28th. Even looks like another one might follow. More optimistic for cold and snow lovers on the GFS compared to the European. All of it's worth noting. Model disagreement this far out is normal. We'll see which solution verifies. I also want to show the CFS daily model. This is the National Weather Service climate model. We're looking at 10-day anomalies. December 16th to 26th shows mildly cold in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Most of that happens over the next couple days. After that, warmer. But December 26th through January 5th, already starting to cool back down. And by January 5th through 15th, definitely colder. Much colder. I want to hammer this point home. These models do not see the warmth as a long-term pattern. They see it as brief. 5 to 10 days, maybe. They really see cold all the way through the end of January. I doubt January 1st through 29th will be cold entirely. That's unrealistic, but definitely a sign that the majority of January will be colder in the east with opportunities for snowfall. Multiple opportunities. I know the pattern right now looks pessimistic for snow lovers. The warm-up around Christmas is disappointing. I get it. But I expect this to be relatively brief. 5 to 10 days of milder pattern, then back to cold and active. And even during the warm period, there are opportunities for cold and snow mixed in occasionally. This isn't a full blowtorch pattern, not by any means. Every single winter, even the coldest winters, have warmer spells. It's part of how winter works. It doesn't stay cold from December 1st until the end of February non-stop. Although, I know some of you would love that. Some of you are freaks who love snow and cold 24/7. If you could have it year-round, you would. I can't understand that personally. I like breaks from brutal cold. But I love the energy from hardcore winter enthusiasts. The point is, this warm period doesn't mean winter is over. It means we're in a pattern transition. And what comes after? That's where it gets interesting. Let me paint a picture of what January is shaping up to look like. Based on current model trends and pattern recognition, early January starts relatively mild. First few days, nothing extreme, just above average. But by January 5th or 6th, things change. A major pattern shift. The ridge in the west breaks down. The trough in the east amplifies. Cold air floods south. Not just a little cold air, a lot of cold air. Arctic air. The real deal. Storm systems develop along the temperature gradient, one after another, each one tracking along the boundary between cold and warm air. These storms bring significant snowfall potential to the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. We're talking multiple feet of accumulation over the course of the month. Not all at once. Not from one storm, but from repeated systems. Storm after storm after storm. Death by 1,000 cuts style winter. The pattern becomes active. Very active. Some years give you 1 or 2 big storms. January 2026 looks like it could give you 5 or 6 moderate to major storms. That's exhausting. That's relentless. That's brutal. Hence why I'm calling it a brutal January. Temperature-wise, we're looking at persistent below-average readings. Not record-breaking cold necessarily, but consistently cold. Highs in the teens and 20s becoming normal across the northern tier. Southern states won't escape either. Cold air will periodically make it into the deep south, freezing temperatures in places that don't see much winter. Snow lovers, your patience will be rewarded. The second half of winter looks much more active than the first half. December was relatively quiet for most areas. Some cold, some snow, but nothing sustained. Nothing exceptional. January flips the script. Active pattern, frequent storms, persistent cold, classic winter month. Now let's talk timing of specific systems because I know you want details. System number 1, December 19th through 21st. Great Lakes low, Arctic air behind it, lake effect snow, potential for accumulating snow in the Northeast. This one's within 10 days. High confidence it happens. Exact track and intensity still uncertain. System number 2, December 26th through 28th, post-Christmas system, Northeast and Southeastern Canada, snow likely, amounts depend on track, could be significant for some areas. System number 3, early January, around the 5th through 7th. This is the pattern change system. Big one, potentially major winter storm for multiple regions. Too far out for specifics, but watch this time frame. System number 4, mid-January, around the 12th through 14th. Another significant system. Models showing agreement on active pattern during this period. Details emerge as we get closer. System number 5, late January, around the 23rd through 25th. Pattern remains active. Another potential major winter storm. January could end with a bang. These aren't guarantees. These are possibilities based on pattern recognition and model trends, but the signal is strong. January looks active. The storm track will be crucial. If storms track through the Great Lakes, the Midwest and Northeast get hammered. If storms track along the coast, the Mid-Atlantic and New England get the snow. Small differences in track mean huge differences in impacts. We'll dial in specifics as we get within 7 days of each system. For now, the big picture is clear. Active January, multiple storms, persistent cold, winter finally arrives in full force. Temperature anomalies for January are projected below average for the eastern 2/3 of the country, above average only in the Pacific Northwest. Snowfall anomalies show above average across the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic. Some areas could see double their normal January snowfall. That's a lot of snow. That's a lot of shoveling. That's a lot of travel disruptions. That's winter. Precipitation overall will be elevated, not just snow, rain too in warmer areas. The pattern is active for everyone, just different forms of precipitation depending on temperature. The persistent cold means snow ratios will be good. Fluffy snow, the kind that piles up fast. 10-to-1 or even 15-to-1 snow-to-liquid ratios possible with the coldest systems. That means a half inch of liquid can produce 6 to 8 inches of snow. Good for accumulation. Bad for cleanup. Lake effect snow will be a major player all month. Persistent cold air over relatively warm lake water equals snow machine. Areas downwind of the lakes prepare for frequent heavy snow. Buffalo, Cleveland, Erie, Syracuse, Michigan's west coast. You know who you are. January could bury you. Multiple feet possible by month's end. The pattern also favors nor'easters, coastal storms that bring heavy snow to major cities. These are the storms that shut down the I-95 corridor. January could see 2 or 3 nor'easters. That's above average. That's significant. Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, all in the crosshairs multiple times. Now let's discuss preparation, because this pattern requires it. For the next 10 days, monitor forecasts daily. We have multiple systems coming. Each one brings different threats. Stay informed. Stock up on essentials before Christmas. Get snow removal equipment ready. Salt, shovels, snow blowers. Make sure everything works. Have backup heating sources. Power outages are possible with heavy snow and ice. Be prepared to stay warm without electricity. Keep vehicles winterized. Full gas tanks, emergency kits, blankets, food, water. Winter driving is dangerous. Be prepared for worst-case scenarios. For January, everything above but amplified. This is a month-long battle with winter. Pace yourself. Don't exhaust your resources early. Budget for higher heating bills. Persistent cold means persistent heating demand. Natural gas and electricity usage will spike. Plan for travel disruptions. Multiple storms mean multiple delays and cancellations. If you have important travel in January, build in buffer time. Check on vulnerable neighbors, elderly folks, people living alone, people with medical conditions. Community matters during harsh winter months. Mental health matters too. Long periods of cold and snow can be draining. Find ways to enjoy winter. Get outside safely. Stay active. Combat cabin fever. The economic impacts of an active January are substantial. Snow removal costs skyrocket. Road maintenance budgets strain. Lost productivity from closures and delays. But winter sports industry thrives. Ski resorts will be ecstatic. Snowmobile trails will be excellent. Ice fishing will be fantastic. Every cloud has a silver lining. Agriculture largely dormant. Livestock needs extra care in persistent cold. But crops are protected under snow cover, better than exposed to extreme cold. Energy sector sees high demand. Good for producers, expensive for consumers. Classic winter economics. Retail sees mixed impacts. Winter gear sales strong, but foot traffic down during storms. Online shopping increases. The pattern has winners and losers economically. That's always the case with weather. Looking beyond January into February, models show the active pattern potentially continuing, not as intense, but still below average temperatures. Still snowfall opportunities. This could be a long winter. Not just January, the entire January through March period could be more active than recent years. That's speculation. That's pattern extrapolation. Take it with appropriate skepticism. But the signal is there. Compare this to recent winters. Last few years were relatively mild, below average snowfall in many areas, above average temperatures. This winter looks different, more classic, more traditional, the kind of winter people remember from decades ago. Is this climate change? Is this natural variability? That's not a discussion for this forecast. This is about what's coming, not why. The why matters for long-term planning, but for the next 2 months, focus on the what. And the what is cold and snow. Model reliability decreases beyond 10 days. Everything I've discussed about mid to late January should be taken as general trends, not specific forecasts. Specific storm forecasts become reliable around 7 days out. Track forecasts get good around 5 days. Snowfall totals solidify around 3 days. Check back frequently as we approach each system. Details will sharpen dramatically as we get closer. For the immediate future, the next 72 hours look relatively quiet for most areas. The current Arctic blast moderates, brief warm-up begins, then Tuesday and Wednesday bring the next system. Clipper through the Great Lakes. Snow for some, cold air behind it. Nothing extreme, but noteworthy. Thursday through Saturday, December 19th through 21st, brings that stronger system. Great Lakes low. This one has more teeth, more impact, more attention required. Christmas week looks mild, relatively quiet. Good for travel, good for outdoor activities. Enjoy it while it lasts. Because after Christmas, the gloves come off. Winter comes roaring back, and it stays for a while. The pattern transition from mild to brutal could be sharp, not gradual. One day mild, few days later freezing. Be mentally and physically prepared for that whiplash. Your heating system will get a workout. Make sure it's serviced and ready. Furnace failures in January are no joke. Preventive maintenance now saves headaches later. Pipes need attention. Insulate exposed pipes. Let faucets drip during extreme cold. Burst pipes cause thousands in damage. Simple prevention works. Vehicle maintenance critical. Battery, Antifreeze, tire pressure, washer fluid, all need checking. Cold weather is hard on vehicles. Breakdowns in January, storms can be life-threatening. Winter clothing inventory. Do you have what you need? Heavy coats, insulated boots, gloves, hats, layers. Don't wait until January to realize you're under-equipped. Snow removal strategy. Can you handle multiple feet of accumulation? Do you have help, physical capability, equipment? Plan now, not after the first big storm. Emergency communication plan. How will family members reach each other during storms? Cell towers can go down. Have backup plans. Food and medication supplies. Don't let yourself get caught short during a multi-day storm. Stock up on essentials. Entertainment for indoor time. Books, games, movies, projects. Long winter months stuck inside require activities. Mental stimulation matters. This all sounds dramatic, maybe even alarmist, but I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you. January looks brutal. That's not hype. That's pattern recognition. That's model consensus. That's professional meteorological assessment. Brutal doesn't mean unsurvivable. Brutal means challenging, means active, means demanding. But we've handled winters before. We'll handle this one. The difference between a disaster and an inconvenience is often just preparation. Prepared people weather storms. Unprepared people suffer through them. Be prepared. Be informed. Be ready. The weather pattern is turning savage. Multiple major winter storms are coming. January looks brutal, but you're going to be ready for it. Because you're watching this. You're informed. You're ahead of the curve. Stay tuned for updates as systems approach. We'll have detailed forecasts for each event as it enters reliable range. For now, understand the big picture. Brief warmth around Christmas. Then winter roars back. Active January. Multiple storms. Persistent cold. Classic brutal winter month. And you know what? Some of you are excited about that. The winter enthusiasts, the snow lovers. Your time is coming. For the rest of us, we prepare. We adapt. We persevere. That's what we do every winter. This one just requires a little extra effort, a little more attention, a little more preparation. But we've got this. You've got this. Stay warm, stay safe, stay informed, and we'll get through this volatile pattern together. That's your complete breakdown. From the current Arctic blast through the Christmas warm-up into the brutal January ahead, weather never stops. Patterns never stop changing, and we never stop forecasting. This is going to be one interesting winter. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride.